Hello, it is March the 9th, 2021, and we're here a year later after doing this last year. If you look at this blackboard here, can you show the blackboards are right here? The map of Ireland we drew last year is still on the chalkboard. So I'm going to erase that one, and we're going to start fresh because this spring we're all about new beginnings and getting back to normal. And the good teachers at Hamlin PK8 and other schools have asked me to keep up the tradition of doing a little bit of reading around St. Patrick's Day and give a little bit of a talk about St. Patrick and about why we celebrate St. Patrick in Ireland. St. Patrick's Day is March 17th, so it is 8 days from now. And it's a bit like the 4th of July here in the United States. It's Ireland's national holiday. And that's where I grew up. That's where I went to school. That's where I was a seventh grader, just like our excellent camera woman here, Zara, seventh grader at the home of the Bobcats. How's it going, Zara?
It's going pretty good.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So I grew up in Ireland and I moved to the United States in 2005. So I've been here almost 16 years. And throughout those 16 years, I had the wonderful opportunity to visit all the schools in the county on and off each year. And I would sometimes read to them around Dr. Seuss Day, but more often I would come talk to them around St. Patrick's Day. And that's what we're doing here tonight. So the teachers at Hamlin have given me this book to read, which I'll read in a few minutes. It's called Lucky, and it's the adventures of the Unluckiest Leprechaun. So we'll get to that in a moment. But anyway, Zara, can you bring the camera over here towards the chalkboard? Ireland is an island, and I'm going to try and draw it again here. I did a pretty good job last year. And it's shaped a bit like that. Okay, now we go up here. We come around here, and we go up here. There's a little lake there, and there's a big river there. And there's a little thing called a border there. Okay, so this is Ireland, and it's an island. And it's on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. It's about 3,500 miles from here. So to get there, you need to go on an aeroplane. And we usually visit Ireland about once a year, me and Zara and my wife Tabitha, and Emma B, Zara's first cousin. And but of course we haven't been there nearly 2 years now because of the pandemic. So we're hoping to get back there maybe the end of this year, maybe next year. But I grew up here, and I grew up in a little town down here called Killarney. And it's a beautiful town. It's a tourist town. It's about 20 miles from the ocean, from the Atlantic. And it's a really busy little town. And tourists from all over the world visit it because it's very beautiful. It's surrounded by mountains, lakes. Like I said, it's quite near the Atlantic. The capital of Ireland is up here, and it's a city called Dublin. Okay, Dublin. And I lived there for about 10 years. And it's a beautiful city of about 2 million people. In the whole of Ireland, there's about I have to think, about 5 million total, I think. I'd have to check my geography going back. And Ireland is made up of 26 counties down here in what's called the Republic of Ireland. And then up here there's 6 more counties that are part of Great Britain. And of course Great Britain is made up of Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales and England. Ireland is a very modern country. The last 20 or 30 years it's become very outward looking. It has welcomed in immigrants from all over the world, particularly from Europe. And Ireland is where a lot of big companies like Intel and Microsoft and Apple, they kind of put their European and sometimes their world headquarters in Ireland. So it's a very successful country, and it's a very beautiful country. It's had the pandemic too. And over the past year, it's been locked down, probably a little bit more than we've been locked down here. And just like us here, they're starting to open back up, which is great. So I think primary schools, that'll be like your elementary and your lower middle school classes, they went back to school this week and last week, from what I know. And secondary schools are doing their thing. And it's starting to get back to normal. The schools certainly are. And the next stage over the next few weeks will be the restaurants, the stores, everything hopefully getting back to normal. They're vaccinating people in Ireland, just like we're getting vaccines here. So what we went through here in West Virginia is not unlike what everyone went through in Ireland. St. Patrick's Day is the national holiday. Now, St. Patrick was a saint, okay? And he preached to the Irish hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And he explained about religion using a shamrock. And a shamrock has 3 leaves, like that. Doesn't have 4, there's 3. Now, if you find one that has 4, that's said to be lucky. But usually they have 3. And he used the shamrock to explain God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Okay? And he became our patron saint. So every March 17th, we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And it's not like the 4th of July here in terms of weather. Usually St. Patrick's Day is a bit chilly. It's a bit damp, a bit wet. But it's a bit like the 4th of July because we have big parades. And instead of red, white, and blue, the colour is green and white and orange, the colours of the Irish flag. And it's a big party, it's a big day out. Everyone gets to enjoy the day, and it's a big celebration, and it's a holiday. And that's what we'll be doing in Ireland in 8 days' time. Sadly, this year, for the 2nd year in a row, the parades will be either not happening at all, or they'll be tamed down because of the coronavirus. But hopefully, over the next year or so, like I said, everything will start getting back to normal. Just like it is at Hamlin PK8, just like it is at our 7 other schools around the county. Okay? Everything is getting back towards some kind of normal, and good times are ahead. The evenings are getting longer, the weather's getting better, and we're going to have a good summer and a good fall. So, that's Ireland, and it's about the size of West Virginia. If you want to imagine West Virginia, Ireland's about the same size geographically, but we've got a few more people, and we've got a few bigger cities. City of Dublin here, city of Cork down here, Galway's over there, Limerick is there, and my hometown of Killarney is down there in the southwest. So, the teachers asked me to read a book, so I'm going to read a book. And Zara's going to do some really handy camera work for me, I hope. So Zara, can you come in a bit closer with the camera? Maybe kneel down there, if you can. And we'll see, I'll be able to put it up here. She just knocked over her Taco Bell Baja Blast. There we go, it didn't spill, so that's good news. Okay. So, our story is about Lucky, and it's the adventures of the Unluckiest Leprechaun. So, have you focused on the book? And this is by Bart Coughlin, and it's illustrated by Letitia Lacey. Okay. And I'm going to try and do silly voices because that's what I do. Okay. Once upon a time, there lived an unlucky leprechaun named Hap. Many years before, Hap's great-great-grandfather, Jedediah McSweeney's pot of gold had been stolen by a giant dragon. From that time on, the McSweeney curse was passed from generation to generation until it splattered right onto Hap McSweeney's head. Hap's father, Pappy, often said, "It's not bad luck, it's McSweeney luck." Hap couldn't tell the difference. But even though Hap's life seemed like one misstep after another, he knew that every dark cloud had a silver lining. In fact, Hap had 3 silver linings, his best friends. They were Shannon, the adventure-seeking elf, Sammy, the gentle giant of a troll, and Reggie, the hyperactive gremlin. One day, Hap and his friends went on a class trip to Houlihan Tower. Mr. Houlihan was rich and very, very lucky. Miss Doris, their fairy god-teacher, told them to be on their best behaviour. Unfortunately, Hap's bad luck was never far away. Just as the tour started, Hap fell into a janitor's bucket and bounced down some stairs. He crashed into a security room filled with video monitors. Hap couldn't believe what he saw up on the screens. There, in a treasure room, was his family's lucky pot of gold. Gold. Back at school, Hap told his friends what he had seen. He knew he could lift the McSweeney curse if he could just get the gold back. The friends formed a plan. During their field trip, Mr. Houlihan had told the students he was hosting a big gala that night. It was the perfect cover for them to sneak in and get the pot of gold. Houlihan Tower will have tight security, Shannon said. sculpting a mini version of the tower with some food. But you know what won't? And she stuck a sprig of asparagus near the mashed potato tower. One beanstalk place, right across the street. All we have to do is zip line from one beanstalk place to Houlihan Tower. That's a great plan, isn't it? What do you think, Sarah? Good plan?
I guess.
Yeah, I guess. That night, outside the tower, Hap realised that the plan would be a lot harder than it sounded. Sammy was nervous too. Anybody else having second thoughts? Asked Sammy. Nuh-uh, said Shannon. This is going to be awesome. The fearless elf tied a rope to an arrow and fired it over to Houlihan Tower. Bunk! The arrow stuck in the side of the concrete building. Whee! Shannon zipped across the rope, and Reggie quickly followed her. Hap and Sammy took off together and got stuck halfway across. Oh no. Hap slipped from Sammy's hand and accidentally pulled down his pants. Oh my goodness. Definitely don't look down now, he shouted to Sammy. Just then, the rope snapped, the friends held on, and crashed into the side of the tower. Hap and Sammy crawled up to a balcony to join their friends. Shannon unlocked the door and the team crept inside. What about disguises? Hap asked. Reggie had something better. Miss Doris's fairy dust. The mischievous gremlin threw a handful of dust into the air. Suddenly, Sammy was dressed as a waiter and Reggie as a handyman. Hap and Shannon looked like gala guests in their fancy clothes. The team members put tiny devices in their ears so they could communicate with one another. Then they split up and went to work. Reggie made it to the security room where he found a blueprint of the tower. There's a secret passage to the treasure room behind the big painting of Houlihan, he said. Let's see. Hap gulped. To get to the big painting, he had to dance across the ballroom. I'm a disaster normally, but dancing? That's a catastrophe. With Reggie's guidance and Shannon as a partner, they made it across the floor to the portrait. Thanks, Shannon, said Hap. You're better than a four-leaf clover. Hap and his friends slowly snuck through the secret door. On the other side was a giant cavern. At the centre, perched high on a tower of rocks and surrounded by a lava moat, was the McSweeney pot of gold. Hap couldn't believe it. He was finally going to get his family's gold back and lift the curse. It was all he'd ever wanted. Suddenly, a figure stepped out of the shadows. It was Mr. Houlihan. I have a lovely story to tell you, he hissed. It was a full moon night. A fool of a leprechaun, pot of gold in hand, was walking through the forest when a huge dragon appeared. He laughed. Your great-grandpappy looked so frightened. That was when I swooped down and grabbed the pot of gold out of his hands. The villain cackled as he opened his mouth to reveal a long, forked tongue. Instantly, horns grew from his head and wings unfurled from his back. Houlihan wasn't a man at all. He was a dragon. The same dragon that had stolen the McSweeney gold. But Houlihan's luck was about to run out. Hap ran as fast as he could while his friends bravely fended off the dragon. Hap clambered up the tower's steep stone steps. At the top, the McSweeney pot of gold glistened before him. He put his hands on it and felt a surge of luck rush through him. I feel lucky, Hap cried. That feeling quickly disappeared when he saw that his friends were in trouble. The dragon had wrapped them up in his tail and was dangling them over the lava moat. It's your decision, McSweeney, growled the dragon. Choose the gold or your friends, you luckless loser. He's not very nice, is he? What do you think, Sarah?
No.
You a bit scared?
I'm a bit scared.
You're a bit scared? I thought so. Hap clung to the pot of gold. Maybe I am a luckless loser, he told the evil dragon. But you know what? My luck has brought me the 3 best friends I could ever hope for. He carried the pot to the edge of the drop-off. It appears you need this gold a lot more than I do. You want the gold? Then go get it. With a great shove, Hap tipped the pot of gold into the lava. The greedy dragon chased after it, but the treasure was gone. Because if you put the gold into the lava, what's going to happen, Zara?
It's gonna melt.
It's going to melt, isn't it? Lava's really hot, okay?
Yeah.
Now, just like the McSweeneys, the dragon had lost the pot of gold and was cursed with bad luck. A cloud gathered over his head and rain fell on his snout. Bolts of lightning stung his tail as he flew away. Think he deserved that?
Yes.
Yeah, he wasn't very nice. I can't believe you gave up your family's gold for us, Hap, said Sammy. You'll be cursed with bad luck forever, Shannon said sadly. Hap smiled. He had his friends, and that was all he needed. Besides, it wasn't bad luck. It was McSweeney luck. Hap's life returned to normal. Well, as normal as the life of an unlucky leprechaun could be. But he still had his friends. And that made him the luckiest leprechaun in the
World.
And that's the end of our story. Wasn't that a good story, Zara?
Yeah, it's pretty
It was
good.
a really good story, okay? Bit scary in the middle there when the guy turned into the dragon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a really good story. And I say this to you guys every year, whether you're in kindergarten or first grade or second grade. Always be reading, always be listening. If someone wants to read you a story, listen to the story, follow along. And as you get older, you'll start reading books yourself. And reading is so important. I'm 45 and I still do a lot of reading, okay? I read newspapers, I read spy novels, I read science fiction, okay? And I read every night. Anytime I have a little bit of spare time, I try to get a bit of reading in. Reading will always serve you well. So always be reading. And always remember the importance, not just of reading, but just like Lucky, the importance of your friends, okay? Stick together, help each other, look out for each other, and we'll make it through not just this tough year, but all the years ahead, okay? Anything else, Zara, that I've left out?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. Well, it's a goodbye from Zara,
Bye.
and it's a goodbye from me, and we might see you in person next year, I hope so. So it's a happy St. Patrick's Day. Take care and good luck.